game 4. We have game 4 on the board. Again, here we have... Okay, so here, alright, a few things went through my mind here, actually. Familiar is there, right? Great cursor, causes problems all the time. But we have trashing. And the choice of trashers is interesting. One of them is loan, which will trash only copper. Fine. Still good. The other one is doctor. And doctor is a funny card. Sometimes you buy your doctor and it performs brilliantly. You get to trash 3 coppers on a turn, you overpay, hit estate immediately, then you hit the next 2 of our next doctor call. Sometimes it does garbage. It only trashes 1 card at a time. So, variable. It can be very good or it can be just average. Now, I could overpay for Doctor here. Now is the time to do it, really. I could overpay for the Doctor and try to trash, but then you have, with the familiar floating around, you have to name one of now copper, estate, or curse. And those seemed like too many options. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe you do Doctor and loan, get small, play lots of familiars, and win. And I could believe that is the right thing to do. But that's not the thing that I did. I used my 4 on a potion. And my opponent will pair their potion with an oracle. And I understand the oracle. I am there for the oracle. That is a play I would make. Really. Oracle potion. Looking for familiar. I think it's good. I think it'll get you there more times than not. But Oracle doesn't have a place past the mid game, I think. The deck I have in mind looks like stables with barges on either end of it and some horns of plenty in between. Oracle doesn't have a place there. It might help you in the early game, and maybe that is decisive actually, but I decided against the Oracle, but I completely understand why the Oracle was bought. Instead, I go for the Slay. The Slay has 2 functions here. I can get 2 horses from the Slay, or I can top deck cards with it. And I like top decking cards. I think that is a good thing to do. Saves you a lot of time. Gains a lot of tempo, you might even call it. So, after agonizing over this for some time, should have bought arms, by the way, I do eventually decide to go for the Slay. And my opponent... Alright, so this is the shuffle now. The shuffle has happened, right? So here, what I'm going to do with my Slay is top deck a silver. I know the potion is in the back. I really want a familiar. So the silver is going to help me do that. Again, I could top deck a loan. I could continue trashing, but in my mind, my deck has stables in it. And if I start cleaning coppers and curses get mixed in, I don't want to draw stables with no treasure, Again, maybe that's wrong. Maybe Dr. Loan is the opening. And if it is, I believe it. We both opened badly in that case. But this is what we have on the board now. My opponent gets a silver and then something else with arms. In other words, no Vagrant. Which means their potion didn't line up well and their Oracle missed. For confirmation of that is in this turn 5 hand. The Oracle does come out. On the other hand, I'm able to get my familiar. So, coming out of that first shuffle, things look good for me. That being said, my opponent has their familiar now, and the Oracle helped cycle a little bit for them. Look, I'm hovering over the loan, but I'm not going to buy the loan. I'm just going to leave the coppers and hope I get enough stables to draw. Instead here, I am going to pick up either a Vagrant or a silver. Let me skip ahead to see what I get. Yeah, it's the Vagrant, it looks like. Yes. Yeah, Vagrant. Opponent gets our stables. I get a second familiar, which we are taking. We are taking. Trashing the curses now is quite a difficult proposition. There's too much mixing in the top three cards for Doctor to reliably trash anything at this point. Anyway, so again I have the option here to top deck something with the Slay or to play it. I choose to play it to get my horses in. Find those familiars, right? Play them as quickly as possible. I don't need to top deck money to buy familiar anymore. I would like to buy a stables, of course, but I also would like to junk my opponent. 2 familiars turns into 3 familiars. And we're looking good on the curse split, actually. I haven't received any curses yet. Here's the first one, of course. It'll come at some point. But we're looking very good here for the curses. I could even get our 4th familiar. But just like in the game with the Coven, I'm going to stop here. Maybe that's wrong. I don't think it's wrong in this case. I think here it makes sense to stop. The familiars don't get any additional value in the later part of the game, unlike the Coven, which if it comes by itself would give you 2 extra coin off the Citadel. Anyways, that's only if you watched the previous video. If not, you have no idea what I'm talking about. At this point, it's just now about getting silvers for stables and barges for me here. There are some points in the barges. 2 points for every barge you buy, but that's a nice bonus on top of the extra cards it gives you, really. So I'll just skip ahead a few. They actually leave me with silver and copper there, which I will take. Means I don't need to top deck anything with this Slay, and the choice right here is between stables and barge. I go for stables first because I want to see those familiars quickly. Barge takes our turn, right? Stables, I play it, I draw. I see 3 immediately. So this is going to be our stables in an effort to win the curse split, and it is going to work out for me. I already have put parity on the curses. If I land one more, it'll win or something like that. Here, now that I at least have parity on the curses, I could consider a barge, and I think I will go ahead and get my first barge here. Let me see. Skip. Yeah, I do get the first barge. Alright, so my opponent can level up the curse split here if they find the other familiar, but it's not going to happen. See, look, this is why I didn't want the Oracle. Things like this will happen. They have to discard that stables, right? In the name of cycling. Is a good card, Oracle, but it has limited use, is what I thought anyway. Anyways, that familiar gives me the curse split, and I still have money for more stables. Could be another barge as well. And in fact, I am going to top deck something here. I think I do top deck the barge. Yep, there goes the barge on top of the deck. So now, with the curse split in my favor, again, I'm at liberty to build however I want. I am going to continue along my plan of stables with barges on either end and Horns of Plenty mixed in somewhere. The Horns of Plenty are difficult to time in the sense that when do you put it in the deck? How many stables do you get before Horns of Plenty? How many barges do you get before Horns of Plenty? Not sure. It's not clear to me when you do that. But here my opponent just buys silvers for the next few turns, and they go on a plan of lots of barges, right? So there's points in the barges, and then they're orange cards, so they don't actually take up that much terminal space. So having more than 2 is fine in the deck. I understand they play completely. So this is how we will build for the next few turns, and I'll just skip these turns really because nothing is happening. I get up to 9 here. I could consider Horn of Plenty, but I feel like I don't have enough draw, so I'll just buy stables and Vagrant. Vagrant will do some work sometimes. It's better than anything else really. Maybe silver is an option there as well. What about the big doctor overpay? Huh? No, we don't do that. All the junk is in your hand because you played stables. Alright, so yeah, more barges for my opponent. And I'll just buy stables and vagrant where possible. I do get a horn at some point. Let's see if we can find that point. No horn yet, but the horn is coming soon. Trust me, trust me. I've been there. So my opponent equalizes on points here. I only have 2 barges, so they have 4 of them, which is 8 points. Piles are coming down. 4 vagrants, 4 barges, 4 stables. So they're not critical. Nobody has money or buys. At most, you can get 3 buys. So as long as there are 4 things in a pile, nothing is happening. It means the game is not going to finish. So very easy to calculate in this case. I'm still salty over the stonemason loss. Okay, here's the horn. I finally top deck it because I have a barge in play. Maybe I'll draw stables. Maybe I'll have a big turn. I'll be able to gain at least a 5 cost. I mean, already with this hand I can, but I would rather obviously draw and draw and draw and draw. Alright, so we play on here. The Horn of Plenty, solitary Horn of Plenty, is gonna help speed up this game as I gain more stables and vagrants. I do have to be a little bit careful. My opponent does have a points lead off the barges, so I just need to make sure I don't leave a pile out for them. I mean, maybe they get enough money somehow if I'm not careful, but I'd like to think I'm careful now after being scarred in that first game. So more barge for my opponent. Here I think we have enough to get up to province. And I do need the points because my opponent is ahead. Yeah, this looks like the province hand. Because now I'm in a position to end the game, so I want to be ahead on points. So that if the opportunity presents itself to end the game, I can do so immediately. Horn will gain our stables, and I'll buy a province and a vagrant. This was a little bit dangerous, but not really. Like I said, 3 buys is the maximum. My opponent has to buy what? Stables, vagrant, province. No way they have enough money for that. I don't have enough money for that, and I have so many stables. Anyways, duchy for my opponent, still behind on the point situation. Not a great turn for me here, right? So this is another reason to not leave the pile so thin. My deck isn't consistent, so don't feel all high and mighty because you had a 1 good turn. But double estate is the play here. Just distance yourself from your opponent in terms of points as much as possible. I think this is the last turn of the game here, if I'm not mistaken. Is it? I have quite a big turn. Yeah, this is the last turn of the game here. I'm able to get these last stables and the vagrant and points with my Horn of Plenty. I even use the barge for buy. Well, I have to actually. I didn't have one in play. But mostly a dull affair in the end game here because the curse split kind of made it that way. The interesting part was at the beginning, right? Those were the interesting decisions in this game. You let me know. Did I open terribly? I feel like I did now, but I don't know. You tell me. Alright, so we are tied up now 2-2. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.